Hey everybody, Multiclassic Gamer here. Welcome to the December 4th vlog, 2020. And we have yet another video game collection video today. And today I'm bringing you my Super Nintendo, as well as the Super NES Classic. You're all aware of what games are on this. It's just the preloaded ones. I have no intention of modding my system because with how valuable and rare these things are, especially since they've been discontinued permanently, I don't want to do anything that might risk potentially bricking it, because I freaking love this Super NES Classic, and I'm very thankful that I managed to grab one while they were in stock back in the day. Just a few years ago now already, geez. So Super Nintendo was one of the first video game systems I ever played on. I was born about 4 years into the Super Nintendo's life, 1995. It was like a couple months after DKC 2 came out. So it was basically the Super Nintendo was at the peak of its popularity. Well, it was on its way out because the N64 was like a year away, but still, the Super Nintendo was still a very beloved console at the time I was born. Also, to this very day, it still is. I always played on my brother's Super Nintendo. And the very first video I ever posted on this channel happened to be a review of the Super Nintendo console. Granted, it was a terrible, crappy review because I was 14 years old, had no clue about video game consoles. I still hardly do. And I even said interview a couple times in the video. I think that's how ridiculous it was. It was so awkward, and yeah, it was my very first video on YouTube, so it's as awkward as you might imagine it would be. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the console stuff as well. Let's go through my collection. It's one of my smaller collections. It's nothing to brag about. Nothing at all. There's some great classics in here, but there's a lot of filler too, because why not? You'll notice with the older systems, some of the games that pick up are just because I've seen like videos of them on YouTube, like specifically by Angry Video Game Nerd. So some of these games I have in my collection are just from that alone. But there are some games I have fond memories of playing that I picked up for that specific reason. Just whatever games my brother had on his Super Nintendo. He still has it to this very day, and it's suffered a lot of yellowing. I can't remember off the top of my head when I got my Super Nintendo. I honestly don't remember. I don't even remember how long I've had it. I think I must have picked it up like at a game store or something a few years ago. I can't remember. If I do remember, I'll mention in a later vlog, I guess. But yeah, I can't say remember when I got this one. But either way, let's start with the collection, shall we? I have about 17 or 20 games here, I think. I have to recount it real quick. It's like 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 23. Yeah, 23 Super Nintendo games. So let's get on with this. Starting with Batman Forever. You can probably tell why I have this one. I played it a little bit. I actually did test recording of it, and yeah, I just brought back the only memories this thing brings back for me is that episode of AVGN. So that's the whole story on that one. Next up, a game you cannot own a Super Nintendo and not have, Donkey Kong Country. This is actually the only game in the series that I've actually played through to full completion, unless you count DK64 as part of a series, which I don't, and most people don't. But yeah, if you own a Super Nintendo, you should really get this game if you ever come across it. Like, always get it. Always. What sense does that make? Next up, we have one of the best games on the Super Nintendo, DKC 2, and I have no idea why it's not on the SNES Classic. Like, how could they not put this on the SNES Classic? I have no idea. Like, that was a huge mistake, honestly. I can see why Donkey Kong Country 3 wasn't on it, but I still love DKC 3 despite the fact that it's the black sheep of the trilogy. I will admit that, but I still think it's a really fun game, and I always look forward to it. Actually, you know what? I totally just forgot. I actually did go through and play and complete the other two games. So actually, no, I have completed the full DKC trilogy. So I apologize. I just need to get to Donkey Kong Country Returns and the Return of the games, basically. Next up, we have one of the two launch titles for actually one of three. The three North American launch titles, I do believe there was, for the Super Nintendo. F-Zero. beloved classic, and it's a franchise that Nintendo has not given a lot of attention to. In fact, actually, it's been dead basically since Maximum Velocity, I think it was called, on the Game Boy Advance. I mean, Captain Falcon's still in. I mean, well, dead is not exactly the right word. I mean, yeah, there haven't been any F-Zero games since the Game Boy Advance, but they did make that course in Mario Kart 8, and also there was the fact that Captain Falcon's still in all the Super Smash Bros. Games, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe it's just because he was very popular in the earlier games. Okay, so here's something interesting. I have Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. And I also have the box that it came in too. This I picked up at a game store a while back. It wasn't that expensive. I don't think this is a very hard to find game. It's not. I mean, like if it was, it would have cost a lot more, especially with the box and whatnot. So, yeah. And I'm well aware of the whole I haven't played the game yet, but I'm fully aware of the circumstances surrounding its release back in the day, basically. So, you don't need to tell me anything about that. I'm well aware it's not exactly your standard or Final Fantasy game, but regardless, I have it, so I look forward to playing it. Next up, we have The Jungle Book, just because it's a Disney game, so why not pick it up? No comment on it yet, since I haven't played it yet. Just gonna stack them up, organized, but I guess not. Next up, we have Kirby's Avalanche. Probably one of the easier to find Kirby games on the Super Nintendo. It's not one of the big titles, but it's still a fun puzzle game, so give it a try sometime. Next up we have, oh boy, you're probably gonna know exactly why I own this one, Lester the Unlikely. Yeah, I played through. I couldn't even get past the first level. It's just so ridiculous. Challenge is not a bad thing, but the way that game goes about it's just not fun. Ooh, here we go. Here's another interesting one. We have Mario Paint. And of course, you need to have the mouse pad, and I also have the box too. This is also relatively cheap too. I think this is only $20. $20 for the game, the box, and the mouse pad, and the what do you call it? The mouse itself, obviously. But there was also the instruction manual too, like everything. So yeah, it's pretty nice to find that. I just snagged it immediately when I saw it. Oh boy, I don't know why I haven't played this yet, but I have it. Mario's Time Machine. A very, very, not so much clickbaity, but whatever the equivalent is for. It's an attention-grabbing title basically. Makes you think you're in for something really exciting, but in all reality, it's just a pretty average education game. Edutainment, or wherever they call it. Okay, here's another classic on the Super Nintendo. Not on the Super Nintendo Classic, but still classic. Mega Man X. Wait, was this on the Classic? I can't remember. Now I have to look at the box to confirm that. Oh, it is. It is on the Classic. I'm such an idiot. I apologize. It is on the Classic. I don't know why I totally forgot that. It's probably because I haven't played the Super Nintendo Classic in a while. But let's readjust that. Okay. Next up, we have Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure. I don't know why I bothered to pick this up, but I have to collect the Pitfall games at some point, so why not get that one? This was actually okay. I believe this was the second Super Nintendo cartridge I pick up. It's Star Fox. I remember seeing it at the game store. I'm wondering why it was so cheap, because it's a well-known game. Not as well known as Star Fox 64, but it's still a pretty decent game on the Super Nintendo, so I could not believe why it was so cheap, even though it was just the cartridge itself, but still. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because normally they charge more for this AAA titles, not because they're rare, but because they're more sought after still. Okay, next up we have a game that I personally have a fondness for purely out of nostalgia. This is Stunt Race FX. This was made specifically to utilize the Super FX chip, and it hasn't aged very well. When I played, it's really hard to adjust to the extremely low frame rate, but it's still, nevertheless, when I play it, it instantly puts me in the shoes of, or in the eyes of my like 2 or 3 year old whenever I start playing video games, because this, like, it was one of the games that my brother had, so it was one of the very first video games I ever played, so it's very, very nostalgic to me. Next up, we have a must-own title for the Super Nintendo, Super Mario All-Stars. My friend YoshiFan2012 actually did a Let's Play of this game, and I still like to look back on that because it was a lot of fun to watch that. I watched every episode she put out, and I think she did an excellent job, even though she went through a lot of hiatuses. But I'm not one to talk when it comes to that. You guys know that, so it was a lot of fun for that reason, or not because of the hiatuses, but you know what I mean. Next up, we have Super Mario Kart, the first Mario Kart game, and one that I honestly feel pretty meh towards. But I will say, as you guys know, I have my memories with this game. We have, first of all, my brother had this, so this is the first Mario Kart game that I ever played. But also, I did do a Let's Play of this game. I started one for the 16-bit summer marathon back in 2012, and I only did like 2 episodes, I think, and that was it. But then a couple of years ago, YoshiFan2012 and I did a co-op Let's Play of this game as a kind of reboot of it, and we still didn't finish it, but we got pretty far. We made up to 150cc, I think, or we at least unlocked a special cup or something like that. I think there's a couple episodes sitting around my laptop I still need to put up. I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure we got further than I uploaded, so I really need to get around to uploading those older episodes. And next up, how can you own a Super Nintendo and not have this? This is Super Mario World. It's the most well-known title, the most iconic title of the Super Nintendo, basically. It's what makes it the Super Nintendo, basically. Next up, we have, oh boy, T2. Gotta have T2 Judgment Day on your Super Nintendo. And with that signature rainbow and everything. Oh, God. Next up we have, this is the very first Super Nintendo cartridge I ever owned on my current Super Nintendo. This is Tetris and Dr. Mario. Having owned the NES versions for all these years, it's a nice change of pace, I suppose, play the 16-bit version. And next up we have the sequel to Tetris, Tetris 2, which is on both the NES and SNES. So, not much to say there. I haven't played as much as the original. This is another memorable, nostalgic game that I played when I was first playing video games for the first time. This is Unit Racers. This is another title developed specifically by Nintendo, I do believe. So, yeah, it's a very good game, basically. Not much more to say on that. And finally, we have the very last game here. We have Yoshi's Safari. Requires a Super Scope, which I unfortunately do not have quite yet. So, there you have it. You know, the funny thing is, the first few years I had this Super Nintendo, and I must have gotten it, it must have been 2017, because I know I picked up Tetris Dr. Mario back in 2017 at, what's that place called again? It was Game World. I think it was called Game World in Spokane. That was the game store I went to when I was living in Eastern Washington. And I remember picking up Tetris and Dr. Mario there in Star Fox, so I must have got my Super Nintendo there. Like, it had to be there, so... Yeah, that must be when I got it. But in all this time, I never had a controller for the system. It took me until this year to finally get one, and it's like one of those third-party aftermarket controllers, but it still works just fine, so that's what I've been using. Not only that, but it also took me a while to get the... Because I also have the Super Game Boy add-on for the Super Nintendo. I also have that too, so I got that just recently as well. But yeah, otherwise that's my whole Super Nintendo collection. So definitely, if you're interested in a particular collection of mine, go ahead and let me know in the comments. You can request a game system collection you want to see next, and also share your memories with the Super Nintendo. Definitely, please do. Like any one of these game collection videos, always feel free to share your personal collection or your personal memories with any of these games or whatever you have, basically. Because I'm all for having discussions in the comments with and sharing memories with fellow gamers. So if you like this, definitely let me know what you want to see next. And besides Let's Plays, I'm still working on those, I promise. But yeah, Simpsons Hit and Run's on the way, as well as the other 2 new Let's Plays. But yeah, in the meantime, have yourselves a wonderful day. Wonderful December 4th. And enjoy your Fridays. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.